Good morning, everybody. Or should I say good afternoon. It is 9:33 a.m. Central Time. Western Time. No. It's the 4-hour difference between Los Angeles and New York. So when we are awake and on our way to work, they are still sleeping. Let me see now. 5 p.m. over there is 8 p.m. over here. Interesting phenomenon, don't you think? But that's how it is. And then in Central Time, it is, let me see now. If it is 1:33 p.m., out there it'd be 12:33 p.m. You know, in Texas and in other central states, there's no such thing as the 10 o'clock news or the 11 o'clock news. Out there is actually the 9 o'clock news. So for us here in New York City, when we watch like the 10 o'clock news, they're like Fox 5 at 10 or WPIX at 10, or is it the PIX news at 10? Out there's the, I don't know, whatever the CW network is over there at 9 p.m. See, I remember that about 10 years ago when I went to visit my Uncle Quincho down in Fort Worth, Texas. Is it next to Dallas? I don't know. I decided to do this blog today because this is a morning blog. This is a morning blog. I just woke up. Actually, I've been up for a few hours now. I've just been lazing around, waiting for my mom to get the hell out of here so I could do this blog already because she keeps talking. She keeps talking and won't let me get my work done. I should have done it when she was at the doctor's office, but she has a loud voice. My aunt being worse, they don't need microphones. You could hear their voice from a mile away from all the shouting. So, anyway, let's get on with the blog today. To begin, I always begin with every blog with to begin. To begin. Let's talk about the weekend. What did everybody do this weekend? For me, the weekend doesn't mean, hey, day off. I get to go out and party and go to the bars and have a good time. I have my morning coffee. My chocolate chip cookie, which is usually my breakfast. Not a great breakfast, but... To me, the weekends don't mean day off, I get to go to work. Maybe in the summertime. But not the weekends, at least not in my job. See, I don't open my big mouth and say, you know, on the weekends, I'll take them. But this is back when I wasn't working, Monday through Friday at that job. I was working, a few days during the week out. And then I said, the weekends, I'll do it. But, at that job, nobody wants the weekends, so I take the weekends. Which means I have to go to work. Which means I have to move my schedule to benefit me at the job, so I can watch stuff at the job. Because at my job I take care of a kid, but I'm allowed to watch TV with him, so I have to move certain TV shows to watch it over there because they have better internet, and also they have a flat screen TV that's the stuff looks bigger, but bigger doesn't always mean better because I have to bring my devices with me to watch videos that look horrendous. This weekend I started a new television lineup. I moved I think I mentioned this before in one of my previous vlogs. I moved my WCW portion of wrestling from 1:30 in the morning, from 1 a.m. in the morning, which is, after midnight, to fucking midnight. The reason I did that was because I was getting tired of falling asleep every time watching WCW like this. And if you want to know what part of WCW I'm watching at 1 a.m., I'm watching the stuff from like 89, 1990, sometimes 1991, but the 1991 content I always get unlucky with it in the sense that they always delete it. So I decided to revamp my lineup this week and move it a little bit earlier. Plus the kid got me in trouble already because he sleeps too late. So this past Saturday I started a new lineup at 10 p.m. I wanted to do this lineup about a year ago. And on 10 p.m. I watched World Class at 10 p.m. And I got this experiment going on between World Class and Monday Nitro. Both stuff you could find on the WWE Network. If I were to do a Monday Nitro, I pick up where I left off last year, 1996, and work my way through it. As long as I get to make it to March of 1997, I'm done. I don't have to watch it anymore because after March of 97, I saw everything. And then I'll just cover what I missed. So weekends to me means work. But, I finally set up my schedule so I could spend more time here on Saturdays. Sundays being a bigger bitch. Because Sundays I have to go to work I leave work at 10 unless the girl shows up late. That's about when you get too friendly with girls sometimes. They take advantage of you in the sense like they start bugging you because they want you to stick around a little bit longer while they take their sweet ass time. And what am I going to do? Say no? She's pretty. Ugh. I went off topic. But Sundays I have to go to work, and I do a double shift. I work till 10 in the morning, go back home. Some Sundays I go back to work at 5. Some Sundays I have to go back to work at 3. Which means it gets in the way of my fucking TV lineup. Does anybody remember the time when you used to wake up as a kid and watch cartoons on Saturday mornings? You know, you could still do that. You know that, right? I mean, just because the TV doesn't give fucking cartoons on Saturday morning, and just give a bunch of boring ass educational shows that nobody even watches, you know, you could still watch cartoons on Saturday mornings. Thanks to the beauty of technology. Thanks to YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, and other devices. Or DVDs. I rather go the DVD route, because even if you have a free device to watch that shit, you have to sit through the same annoying commercials 4 times. This is worse than Hulu. But back in 2009, I started doing the Saturday morning cartoons with my little brother. We did that from 2009 to 2013, and by 2013 we just pulled the plug on it because we always had stupid relatives come over and hang out in the living room, and then they were in the living room, so we were going to watch TV, and then eventually my brother just phased it out, and even I got phased out too. So after the cartoon lineup was done, all those years, I moved it to wrestling again. I would watch WCW at 9 a.m. I would watch WCW at 9 a.m. in the morning, kind of like when I was a kid when I used to watch the Power Hour or Pro. Mostly Pro. I don't remember much about the Power Hour. Then I stopped doing that, and I just bounced around, and thanks to this stupid job where I got to get up the kid early, it throws my shit around. And I want to squeeze in more TV time on the weekends. I don't want to sit on the computer all fucking weekend doing the same boring thing. Sunday mornings is an interesting one, because on Sunday mornings I watch cartoons. I started doing that. I tried doing the Sunday morning cartoons in 2010, but I would always fall asleep in the middle of the cartoon. I'm going to go. Maybe lunchtime, like 12 p.m. I'd still be. I wasn't until 2013 that I finally perfected the lineup, thanks to the YouTube app, and I watch cartoons on Sunday mornings. They come directly from YouTube. Gives me a chance to discover all cartoons that I never even knew existed. And some cartoons I knew existed, but I never cared about them, so I got into them years later. Let me see now. What are the cartoons I watch on Sunday mornings? Rambo: The Force of Freedom. That's a DVD, and I include a DVD in my lineup because over there at my job, in the room I sleep in, the internet sucks. It works fine in the living room, but I'm too lazy to go to the living room and watch TV. I want to sit in my bed watch TV. So I watched at 9:30. I watch Rambo. Then I leave at 10. Usually takes me about half an hour to get back home. When I get back here, I pick up where I left off right here in this TV right next to me. And you're gonna make fun of me, but I'm watching the New Kids on the Block cartoon. Give me a break. What do you want from me? I'm watching the New Kids on the Block cartoon. And this other cartoon called Sherlock Holmes in the 21st Century. And then I wrap it up with an hour of pro wrestling, WCW. I've been watching a lot of WCW lately. And I spent most of last year watching the 1995 content, which is not that bad. Now I'm stuck in 1994. I'm trying to get rid of any episodes that are sitting there on YouTube. I should not have said that, because now they're going to come cracking down these poor guys that are uploading this content and ruin it for me. That's what happened many years ago. They took out all the episodes. I had to make a playlist of matches. But anyway, and then I get back home, and then I finish my lineup, and I do whatever the hell I got to do, which is usually sitting in front of the computer all day long. Yeah. Get my shit ready and go back to work, and have this other lineup I call the 1 hour drama lineups. I start at 6 p.m. I've been having trouble this past year because I had nothing to watch on Sunday afternoons, or I just get distracted. But I know at 7 p.m. I watch Batman. At 7:30 I take a break, and at 8 o'clock I don't know what show to watch. Then at 9 o'clock I watch MacGyver, the old episodes of MacGyver, and I'm watching season 6. And when I'm done with season 6, I'll just roll over to a new show. Because I remember when I first discovered MacGyver, it wasn't on a weekday afternoon. I used to watch it on a Sunday afternoon in El Salvador in Spanish. And I used to watch, what season was I watching? I think I was watching season 7. That's the one I remember the most watching on the Spanish station at the time. That 1 hour drama lineup still exists in El Salvador, but now it's updated shows. So basically all they give out there is now Criminal Minds and Law and Order and CSI and all that stupid stuff. I'm going back to basics here. So that's the weekend for me. I watch a lot of TV, but the weekend is the only time where I actually program myself to watch TV. Oh, and another thing too. I think I mentioned this before in another blog. Does anyone remember back in the days when wrestling was at 6:05 on the Superstation? Now TBS is very funny, or as I like to call it, very crappy. TBS is now the Big Bang Theory channel. And before that, it had other sitcoms that were okay. They play the hell out of Seinfeld. They play the hell out of Friends. And they're playing the hell out of Married with Children and The King of Queens. They need to get rid of those fucking shows already, though. But you can still watch wrestling at 6:05. Except that portion of the lineup got played out for me. That's the problem with lineups. I watch certain companies at a certain time, but after a year it gets played out already. So I no longer watch wrestling at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. Instead, I moved it to 7 p.m. I was enjoying watching the UWF episodes with Bill Watts, but they took out the Bill Watts episodes, so now I moved. I'm still watching I'm still watching Mid South, except now I'm actually watching Mid South, not UWF. I'm watching the stuff from that old boys club in fucking, I don't know, from Louisiana. I think it's the boys club or whatever the hell that was. This is before they became the UWF. That stuff is okay, but I'm beginning to see that stuff hasn't aged very well. It was fun when I did it back in 2012 when I got this wacky DVD with Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Andre the Giant and I think I forgot the guy's name, Lord Humongous on the cover. It looks all cartoony. I remember watching that DVD at exactly 7 p.m. on a Saturday night, and boy, did I like the nostalgia. But some shit worked back then doesn't work even today, so I'm second guessing if I want to keep watching Mid-South on Saturday nights. And on the weekdays, I have a new line that I want to start tonight, and if I could keep my fingers crossed and fucking get off the fucking computer to watch it. And that is watch my wrestling lineup at exactly 7 p.m. I'm basing that lineup on the old U68, which is now Unimas, which before that was Telefutura, where they would give wrestling 5 days a week. And that's the thing I got going on today, though. So there's the weekend for me. A lot of wrestling and a lot of TV shows. I watch a lot of TV shows and wrestling. In fact, I should have turned the TV on this morning because I finally moved the antenna now. The antenna, I was still using those big rabbit TV antennas, was actually sitting in front of on top of the laptop. I mean, on top of the computer monitor, which is next to this thing, the webcam. But the antenna had it right here. I finally asked my boss at my job to let me get let me have a piece of long cable. I got plenty of cables. I just too lazy to move all the shit in the back there, and I have the antenna now by the window, which means that now I get to watch more channels in better quality, and not the issue. And I get to watch channel 11 again. So that means I'll probably find myself watching 2.5 Men again. You and I play the hell out of that show. So there you have it, my TV habits. That's the weekends for me, TV habits. And now let's focus on the weekdays. I already talked about the weekends. One thing I like to do on the weekdays is now watch TV. I think I mentioned that before, and I mentioned it again. I don't watch TV that much. I listen to a lot of podcasts, which brings me to another conclusion. There are too many fucking podcasts out there. It's getting on my nerves. I'm a big wrestling fan. I think we already got the message in that. I'm a big wrestling fan, but there's just too many fucking wrestling podcasts. And after a while, how unique can your podcast be when the guy being interviewed is being asked the same questions that we've heard 1,000 times, except this time they're telling the story differently each time? Everybody's jumping on the podcast bandwagon. Austin did it. Chris Jericho did it. And a bunch of other wrestlers. You got the best one right now is Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and this guy named Conrad. That's the best one. Because they don't have guests. They just talk about a subject, a pay-per-view or something, or a particular event, and it becomes a 2-3 hour podcast. Those are very interesting. I use them as background, when I'm doing stuff. But then you got these other podcasts. They bring in wrestlers and they ask them the same fucking questions. After a while, how unique can your podcast be? Eric Bischoff's doing a podcast now. Fucking, I heard Medusa Michelli, otherwise known as Alondra Blaze, doing another podcast. Who was doing the podcast? Cyrus and Lance Stone have like a very boring podcast where they just sound like a couple of nerds. I'm very intellectual and I have an IQ of 100, something. And I tried listening to one of them. I just found myself just fast forwarding to whoever the guest was. Raven, not That's So Raven, more like Raven the Wrestler has a podcast too. I'm going to give that one a shot. It's going to be very interesting if I can handle it. The Jim Ross podcast is by far the worst one of them all because who's the one doing the interviewing? You or the guest? Who's the one being asked the question? And who's the one answering their own questions? You or the guest? I can't even get to a fucking 10-minute video without him talking. It's like, yeah, shut up already, though. But anyway. So stick to the Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard podcast and the What Happened When podcast. That's the spin-off show. That's with Conrad and Tony Schiavone. They focus on WCW a lot, but they're focusing on some of the stuff from WCW that I'm not very familiar with. I didn't watch WCW until 1991, so anything from 89, I'm familiar with some stuff from 89 because I'm currently watching it on YouTube, but other than that, I'm oblivious to most of that. I have to go back and watch the network and then listen to the podcast, or do it the other way around. Listen to the podcast and then go watch the pay-per-view, because I'm not affected by spoilers. If I knew what was going to happen, I'm still going to watch it because I want to see for myself what exactly happened. So there you have it. This video is exactly 15 minutes and 21 seconds. 23, 24. I got to stop this right now because if I don't, I'm going to have to squeeze in this shit. I don't want to get in trouble here on YouTube. I'd rather stick it to just 15-minute videos. So that's my morning podcast for you. My cup of coffee to wake up. I got to get out of here. I got to go to the supermarket right now, and then I'm going to come back and do another video. I'm trying to get more videos done. I'm aiming for number 65. So let the cameras roll, and we got to get going. I said it wrong. No. Never mind. I got to get the hell out of here. So I'm signing off. See you later. I'll be back in a few hours. Now get the hell out of here. I want to get some rest. Baby, what a big surprise.